Democrats won the battle, but they could be struggling to win the war. The election report has surprises for everyone.
A massive explosion shakes Texas.
I'm in the University Union right now, where the UPC is hosting their 48-hour film festival.
Broadcasting live from the University of North Texas, this is ntTV Nightly News.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us on ntTV Nightly News. I'm Lillian Kosh.
And I'm Chanel Young. The ballots are in for this year's midterm elections, and voters across the country sent some big messages to politicians that could leave a major impact on the 2024 election. CNN reporter Ivan Rodriguez has the latest.
A victory for reproductive rights activists in Ohio.
Winning was our only option, and we did it together.
Voters casting their ballots Tuesday to enshrine the right to an abortion in Ohio's Constitution, just the latest state to do so in the wake of the Supreme Court's 2022 decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. And in Virginia, Democrats swept the state legislature in a rebuke of Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin, who sought to pursue what he called reasonable abortion restrictions if the GOP took control of both chambers.
Voters are sending a message to all of us, Democrats and Republicans, that the number one issue that they care about is freedom.
Abortion access proving a driving force for voters, which could be a boon to Democratic prospects in 2024, even as Republicans frame the results as wins for states' rights.
I think you got to let it be decided state by state, and that's exactly what's happening.
But despite party victories, polling of registered voters shows the sour mood in the country is posing trouble for President Joe Biden's re-election chances, coming up short in hypothetical matchups against former President Donald Trump and other GOP candidates.
What we're going to continue to do is highlight the record of accomplishments that he has and draw that contrast between what he puts forward and brings to the table and what Donald Trump or any other Republican on the MAGA side of this puts forward.
Deep Red Kentucky's newly re-elected Democratic Governor Andy Beshear says the key to victory is focusing on the things that impact people's daily lives.
They want someone that, again, is going to try every single day to make their life just a little bit better.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
One of the key issues on yesterday's ballot here in Texas was Proposition 5.
ntTV's Deja Jackson joins us now with more on what the vote yesterday will mean for the future of UNT. Deja?
Thanks, Chanel. President Neil Smalltrust announced that UNT will be one of the 4 schools receiving funding from Proposition 5, which established the Texas University Fund. Proposition 5 established a nearly $4 billion endowment to universities that will provide sustainable funding without creating new taxes for taxpayers. The voting for the proposition received an overwhelming wave of support, with 64% in favor and 36% against. The funding will help the universities compete for research dollars for federal and private groups in hopes to increase the Texas job market. The 4 schools chosen to receive this funding were selected based on past research in the number of doctorate degrees awarded of an annual basis. The money will distribute for the merit system, but that merit system will look like it's still to be determined in the upcoming weeks. In addition to UNT being recognized to being the part of the TUF, UNT is now the official 3rd largest school in Texas. The top 3 are UT Austin, Texas A&M, and the Mean Green. Our success comes after a 52% growth rate since 2019. That's all I have for you guys. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Deja. And one more development when it comes to voting and related political matters, this time on Meta. The Facebook parent company is cracking down on organizations who use deepfakes in their political ads. Meta will require all political advertisers on a global scale to identify in their ads when they are using artificial intelligence. This all begins in January. The goal is to limit the use of fake images and fake content that has been altered to spread misinformation. The crackdown stems from widespread warnings from social and voter advocacy groups who are sounding the alarms about fake information and false AI-generated content.
Lillian, I've got to ask you, did you feel the ground shake this morning?
I I did not. Was I supposed to?
Well, not really, but apparently parts of South Texas had a pretty shocking wake-up call. Our weather anchor Brooke Deering will tell us all about it, along with the rest of this week's forecast for the next few days. Brooke?
Well, guys, just this morning, West Texas was struck with a 5.3 magnitude earthquake around 4:30 a.m. just outside the city of Mentone. This earthquake was recorded to have a depth of about 4.9 miles and is now standing as Texas's fourth strongest earthquake, felt hundreds of miles away. The vibrations of the quake were said to have felt as far as Santa Teresa, New Mexico, about 200 miles west of where the earthquake was detected. So far, there have been no reports of damage or injuries. But this isn't the first time Mentone, Texas was hit with an unexpected quake. In fact, the last big earthquake in Texas was the 5.0 Mentone, Texas quake that happened on March 26 of 2020, where people felt tremors as far as the city of El Paso. The strongest remaining as the 6.0 earthquake and with an epicenter in Valentine, Texas, or Jeff Davis County on August 16th of 1931. As for our area, the only prominent conditions we're facing here is some rain in the upcoming week. If we take a look at our current conditions, the temperature right now is at 84 degrees, and with that sun that we've been having, it's feeling a little bit warmer at 87 degrees. Now, those wind speeds are going to slow down to 8 miles per hour as we head into tonight's conditions, and the temperatures are going to drop down into the 70s. We're seeing the temperature at 74 degrees, and those clouds are going to keep rolling in until tomorrow's conditions, where we're going to see it drop to the 60s. The temperature is going to be at 61 degrees, and those clouds are going to bring rain from 9 a.m. until 2 a.m. on Friday. Those wind speeds are going to pick up to 16 miles per hour. Now I'll be back with you later in the show for your full weather update. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Brooke. We'll check in with you a little later. A Texas gun owner has made his way to the Supreme Court to argue no limits on the Second Amendment.
And another Texas native makes a scaly appearance up north.
The do's and don'ts of the Pole Rec Center. See that man over there? Please do not hog weights. Instead, do this. Another important part is having an attentive spotter. See, here is an example of a non-attentive spotter. Instead, do this. Now we head to the track, which should be pretty easy, just it's important to pay attention to the way the track goes. Remember to wipe down the equipment after you're done using it. The towels are provided by the gym, so it's pretty easy to wipe down the equipment when you are done. Thank you for using the Pole Recreation Center.
Explosion and fire at a chemical processing plant just 60 miles northeast of Houston has finally been contained. Black smoke can be seen lingering over the plant where the fire was raging, calling multiple fire agencies to the scene. Nearby schools were evacuated, a shelter-in-place order was put into effect, and parts of Highway 59 were closed. One of the chemical plant employees was hurt, suffering from minor injuries and burns.
He's with the right people, and they're taking care of him, and he's doing good. He was worried about us, so he's doing good. He's going to be home with his family this evening.
Company owners say they focus on recycling and chemical management, working with materials like acids and solvents. Tonight, there's still no word what triggered the explosion and fire.
Arguments about the Second Amendment rights were heard by the Supreme Court yesterday, discussing whether convicted domestic abusers should be allowed to own guns. Jen Sullivan will break down exactly how this case made its way from Texas all the way to the Supreme Court.
Outside the Supreme Court Tuesday, advocates for domestic violence victims demanding protection from abusers. One woman sharing her personal story with the crowd.
The only person the gun was used on was me.
Inside the High Court, the justices hearing roughly 100 minutes of arguments on the Biden administration's appeal of a ruling striking down a federal law that bans people with protective orders against them from owning a gun.
Guns and domestic abuse are a deadly combination.
The challenge to the law was brought by Zaki Rahimi of Texas. He's currently in jail for other gun-related charges. But in 2020, a restraining order was issued against him following a violent altercation with his then-girlfriend. Because of that restraining order, he's banned from owning a gun.
It is possible that it would be unconstitutional to deny people the right to purchase a firearm from a licensed dealer.
Lawyers arguing in support of the law said a woman is 5 times more likely to die from a domestic abuse situation if a gun is involved. In 1994, Congress passed a measure to ensure domestic violence victims could be protected from their abusers under federal laws. Rahimi's lawyer says that violates his Second Amendment rights to bear arms.
Domestic violence was not even an issue, 2 centuries ago.
Yeah. The future of the law now in the hands of the 9 justices. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
Devastating impact from the Israel-Hamas war is spilling over into the United States. Rise in hate crimes and protests are being seen across the country, with protesters and support for both sides. Gloria Pazmino has more.
Chants cut through New York City's already noisy streets. Pro-Palestinian protesters taking their messages from City Hall, marching across the Brooklyn Bridge, bringing traffic to a screeching halt. Across the city, an Israeli restaurant owner says some of his pro-Palestinian employees have walked off the job because of his support for Israel. Now, people in the community are lining up to show their support.
It's really reassuring because for a lot of Jews right now, New York feels like a very dangerous, very dangerous place. So this shows there's support. There's love still in the world.
In Texas, the owner of an Israeli restaurant says a burglar cut a hole in the roof of her business and damaged prayer books inside. The owner says she's received several threats recently, and police advised her to remove the Israeli flag from the front of her business.
I just don't bend that easily.
In California, authorities are giving new details on injuries sustained by a Jewish man who died from a head injury following an interaction with a pro-Palestinian demonstrator.
The autopsy demonstrated non-lethal injuries to the left side of Mr. Kessler's face. Additional injuries included injury to the back of the head.
What exactly transpired prior to Mr. Kessler falling backward isn't crystal clear right now. No arrests have been made related to this incident.
In New York, I'm Gloria Pazmino.
Lillian, I may not be a meteorologist, but I can always tell how the weather's going to look outside just based on your outfits.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd get to wear short sleeves for the rest of the year, but like Brooke said earlier, it was a toasty 84 degrees today. So, Brooke, what does the rest of the weather look like for the week? Am I going to have to break out the winter coats?
We take a look at our local map. We're seeing temperatures ranging from the low 80s to the low 90s, with our lowest temperatures in Paris and Sulphur Springs both at 80 degrees, and then our highest temperature in Graham at 93 degrees. As for the rest of the area, we're seeing a lot of 85-degree temperatures, especially in Gainesville, Sherman, McKinney, Dallas, and Fort Worth. If we look at our regional map, we're going to see those temperatures drop into the 70s, with our lowest temperature in Amarillo at 70 degrees and Oklahoma City at 71 degrees. Our highest temperature is going to be in Abilene at 91 degrees, and the rest of the area we're seeing a lot of low 80s. If we take a look at our 7-day forecast, we're seeing a lot of clouds covering the week. We're starting off the week with Friday and Saturday dropping in the highs of 54 and 58, with lows in 45 and 46. On Sunday, we're going to start to see a little bit of sun, and that temperature is going to go up into the 60s with a high of 66 and a low of 46. As for the rest of the week, we're going to end it with Tuesday with some AM showers, that high being at 65 and a low of 46. And then we're ending with Wednesday partly cloudy with a high of 68 and a low of 51. So it's going to be a pretty cool week. But I'll be back later next week for the rest of the weather. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Brooke. Wisconsin natives got quite a fright on Monday when an unexpected tourist decided to spend the day at a lake. Jenna Wells has more details on this scaly tale.
It's tiny. Meet Maddox's newest reptile resident, brought in by South Milwaukee police Monday.
The caller showed us where the alligator was, and we picked him up.
And we taped his mouth shut just to make sure it didn't bite us, and
walked it back to the car.
A first for these officers, but Milwaukee Area Domestic Animal Control says it's not an anomaly.
It might be like our 4th or 5th this year already.
Despite his small stature, alligator shouldn't be in the Milwaukee area at all.
It is illegal to have exotic pets in any of the 19 municipalities in Milwaukee County, so it definitely is not legal to have that animal, but my guess is somebody probably dumped it.
Now the gator is under a heat lamp attempting to warm up. If he wasn't found, he may not have made it through the night.
It is very malnourished, definitely was not well taken care of.
Thankfully, he's in good hands and soon will head to an exotic animal rehab in Illinois.
He cannot be adopted, he cannot be fostered, he will not be euthanized.
The gator guest, a reminder that exotic animals need to be rehomed to rescues, not released in the wild.
If you were big enough to get an exotic animal, be big enough to do the right thing when you can no longer keep it.
Next, how chicken feed is making its way onto your dinner table.
And UNT has the hottest new challenge for up-and-coming filmmakers. Stay with us. Girl, I'm gonna be honest with you. I really hope you don't hear my stomach growling in here because I am so hungry during this time of day.
I don't hear it, and I am too. I could really use a snack from the vending machine right now.
Honestly, that sounds like such a great idea. And you know, there's actually a new snack that sounds pretty cool. It's called Chix Mix.
Chix Mix, okay.
Yep, Purdue is coming out with a new chicken feed for humans. Purdue has always said that their chicken are fed good and healthy ingredients. So now they would like to combat these concerns about their company's treatments of its chickens. Purdue says that it does not use antibiotics in its chicken feed, like their biggest competitor. Chix Mix is inspired by the same vegetarian, antibiotics-free ingredients that Purdue's chicken eat. It will consist of corn, edamame, and puffed wheat. You will be able to try this snack for yourself really soon. This limited edition snack will be available to order for free on PurdueChixMix.com starting November 17th.
That chicken feed sounds so good, but I actually prefer donuts with sprinkles, and Monday I will get my wish. Monday is World Kindness Day, and in honor of doing a good deed and paying it forward, Krispy Kreme is offering customers free donuts. The first 500 people to visit a participating Krispy Kreme on Monday will get a dozen free glazed donuts. There's no purchase necessary, so go grab some donuts at Krispy Kreme and spread some kindness.
Now, one of my favorite ways to eat delicious snacks like donuts is when I watch a good movie. And if you've been walking around the University of North Texas today, you may have noticed a few students holding some pretty fancy looking camera equipment. Our reporter Landry Brady is here to share how UNT is ready for lights, camera, and action. What's up, Landry?
Thanks, Chanel. I'm actually here at the University Union where the UPC is hosting their 48-hour film festival. The students signed up about 5:30 and they're actually working on their films right now as we speak. I'm actually here with the outreach coordinator of the UNT short film group, Shay Collymore. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Landry. How are you?
I'm great. So could you tell me more about the event that's happening right now?
Yeah, so what it is basically you have 48 hours to make a film. You're going to be grouped to like 4 to 6 people and all that. So you have time to like write a script, edit, perform, shoot, all that good stuff.
Alrighty, and is this event open to all students at UNT or is it just film students?
It's open for everyone, pretty much like business, science, theater, psychology.
Amazing, amazing. So is there any criteria for the films, or is there a theme that people have to follow, or could you tell me a little bit about that?
Most likely, once you sign up, they're going to tell you everything, like the guidelines, the prompt, everything, so it's to be announced right now.
And is this the first time this event has happened, or is it more like a yearly thing, or could you tell me about that?
From my knowledge, this is pretty much a first and all that, but hopefully they can keep doing it yearly and all that, so it's very exciting.
I do hope that this continues yearly because it's a really cool event. Could you tell me, is there any opportunities for students at the university to view these films?
Yes, so on November 15th is pretty much around 5 or 5:30ish. We're going to be joining in the Lyceum where we're going to get to see everybody's work. Of course, I'm going to be there, everyone's going to be there, all the short film club officers going to be there, whole shebang.
Alrighty, sounds good. So if you have any interest in film or just want to get a break for studying, come out November 15th to the Lyceum to view all of these amazing works that these students have put on. Again, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Alrighty, back to you ladies in the studio.
Thanks, Landry. Well, Chanel, yesterday marked the official start to the men's basketball season, and boy, did they start off strong.
Oh, yeah. It was a nail-biter for sure. But if you didn't get a chance to catch the game, Jay Lathan is here to break down what happened in the Super Pit last night. Jay?
Yes, indeed, Chanel. That game last night was a nail-biter. I have basketball and high school football playoffs after the break. Stick tight for sports on ntTV News.
And now we return to Fabric of Passion.
Oh, Hector, it will be so hard for us to part, but we must.
But, my love, what did I do? I thought we were meant to be together forever.
I am so disheartened to say that you're just not in style anymore. But you will be, to someone else, in a better place.
You're gonna shred me?
No.
I'm donating you to one of the many clothing donation boxes available on campus. There is one in the Union by the Syndicate and one on Union Circle Drive.
Oh, well, why didn't you just say so? I'm gonna be someone's new shirt.
I thought you'd be more distressed.
Oh, absolutely not. It was cramped in your closet anyways.
Maybe you would like to be shredded after all.
The UNT men's basketball team opened up their season in the Super Pit against the University of Northern Iowa last night. Junior forward Aaron Scott led the team with scoring with a career-high 26 points, and senior guard Reuben Jones kept his promise as the defense has not left either. He tied his high with 5 steals as well. The Mean Green would go on to win this game in an overtime thriller, 83-77, securing new head coach Ross Hodge his first victory. He was quoted as being incredibly thankful for the crowd as the Mean Green Maniacs were there with over 1,600 strong in attendance last night. The women's team looks to carry on the winning streak as they face off against Grambling State tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. in the Super Pit. New head coach Jason Burton hopes to have assembled a well-oiled machine as the team broke the school scoring record in their season opener over UNT Dallas. He'll lean on transfer senior guard Jacqueline Moore and veteran forward Tamisha Lampkin. Staying on the hardwood, the Mavericks take on the Toronto Raptors at American Airlines Center tonight. The Raptors are sub-500 and are led by 22-year-old Scotty Barnes. The small forward leads the team in averaging 23 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game. But he doesn't hold a candle to the firestorm that is Luka Doncic, what he calls a start to the season. Averaging 32 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists per game, he's led the Mavs to the second-best record in the West. Tip-off is at 7:30. Speaking of young stars, Texas high school football playoffs start tomorrow. Thursday night lights will feature DFW talents such as Allen versus Louisville, Arlington Martin versus Richardson Beckner, Aledo versus Colleen Shoemaker, Frisco Lone Star versus Dallas White, Grapevine versus Frisco Emerson, Argyle Fort Worth versus Fort Worth Wyatt, Colleyville Heritage versus Denton, South Oak Cliff versus Everman, and more. That's all for sports. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Jay. There is a new Barbie coming to town in honor of Wilma Mankiller, the first female principal chief of the Cherokee Nation. The Wilma Mankiller Barbie is part of the new Inspiring Women series. Wilma is remembered by many Cherokee for her work in improving health care and housing for the Cherokee Nation. Mankiller received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1998.
You know, that is truly inspiring. I'm really wanting to see what they come up with next for the other Barbies.
I'll be interested to see that too. We'll just have to find out. Well, thanks so much for watching ntTV Nightly News.
Join us again tomorrow at noon and tomorrow evening at 6 here on North Texas Television.